right, Videoguys Live. Tuesdays at 3 p.m. we teach you about products and technology and things we sell and things we do. And please ignore this screen. This screen we talked about a little bit. He's going to leave it going. This is actually a screen that's, we got it in the infinity loop, which I hate. So if we could take it out of that, Adam. But what we're showing here is a demonstration. This screen is going to actually be playing the output of a Premiere timeline from across our facility. So for now, I want to talk about NDI encoders and what's going on and how those work. Great. So let's roll on that. Okay. What do NDI encoders do? Well, NDI encoders let you take the HDMI or SDI signal out of a camcorder or any other device and bring it into your NDI network. It allows you to use Gig-E networking to send the NDI video all over the place as opposed to SDI or HDMI cables. And more than that, it lets you turn your camera and device into an NDI source and makes it available to every other NDI aware product on your network. So we've got a bunch of products that we're going to show you in the studio today that are NDI. So right here we have a bunch of decoders from NewTek and BirdDog. We've also got encoders that are available that we're going to be showing you from BirdDog that are actually going to be for demo purposes. We have a fully NDI studio going on today. At the end of the show, I'm going to talk to you about all that cool stuff we're doing in there. And if you could just tell Oliver to pause that somewhere because it's just getting a little distracting. All right, NDI encode versus decode. Now, there's two different things going on. If you remember what I told you, over here we have NDI decode going. That's basically taking an NDI signal and it's taking it and putting it on this monitor with HDMI out. We're using a BirdDog Flex to do that. NDI encode lets you take a device, lets you take the video out of a device, convert it into NDI, and then bring it across onto your network to use. One of the cool things about NDI that's a really big deal, about a year ago, BirdDog introduced NDI version 4, and with version 4.5, they really knocked it out of the box. And 4.5 does some things I think are really important. It gives you real-time iOS support. It gave you tremendous improvements in NDI HX latency. It gives you unlimited IP recording, and that is any computer on the network can be set up to record the IP from anything there. And then we also now have the ability to mix full NDI and NDI HX. Whoops, I see we got a little together without conflicts. All right. What is the difference between full NDI and NDI HX? It's a great question. We get that all the time. So full NDI has lower latency and higher bandwidth to deliver superior image quality. And that's why in the 4K space, pretty much everyone who's going 4K has gone to full NDI. NDI HX is lighter weight, more compressed, but it increases latency and it requires more computer power to decode when you get to the mixer or switcher. So when people say which is better, NDI or NDI HX, it really depends on your workflows and what you're using. Now, what we found is when you're getting into the higher res 4K and stuff, you definitely want to be full NDI, but this doesn't mean NDI HX is a slouch. It's great, and you can mix the two together seamlessly in an NDI 4.5 world. All right, this is a big question, and let's talk about what video switchers, mixers, and software support NDI. Let's go to that camera on me. We're waiting for the BirdDog P105. There we go. That's okay. Well, there's a lot going on this show, so if Adam seems that he's sleeping, he's not. We have so many moving things going on at the same time that I apologize for that. So what switchers and mixers support NDI? Because once again, NDI is great, but you need those main core devices to control the whole NDI show. So what do you got? You got the NewTek TriCaster. You got Wirecast and Wirecast gear. You got vMix and OBS. You got the Epiphan Pearl 2, and you have the Panasonic AVHLC 100 NDI live stripping production switcher. Why do I want to bring that list to you? Because that's really the heart and soul of your NDI studio, your NDI workflow. So you've got to have an NDI switcher, but as you can see, just about every good switcher in the world out there now supports NDI, so it's not really a big factor. All right, the other thing that I want to talk about, and we're doing it on today's show, is you can mix NDI, SDI, and HDMI for your workflows. So like we have most of everything in the studio you see is NDI today, but as an example, on my main camera, the CX350, we went in with that SDI. And the reason we went in with that SDI is we wanted to know, we always recommend, even in a crazy NDI workflow, have at least one camera that's hardwired in SDI or HDMI directly into your mixer or switcher. Why? Because sometimes things go wrong, and hardwired stuff is the most reliable, and it's going to be there. So we have that as, you know, our default camera coming in SDI. We know we got it there. If things get a little wonky anywhere in the NDI world perimeters, we know we can bring it all back. And I'm not trying to scare you about NDI. NDI works fantastic. We're using it for this whole studio, but I like having that little insurance policy of at least one camera being, you know, directly SDI or NDI input. All right. So how do you integrate an SDI or HDMI signal into your existing new NDI world? Well, that's a great question, because a lot of us have cameras that we've owned for years. You might have camcorders you want to put into your system. You may have some DSLRs with HDMI out. You may have some PTZ cameras that you've had for a while that may or may not be upgradable to NDI, but you haven't gotten there yet. Well, the beauty of NDI is sometimes you need a converter to bring you in there. Sometimes you do it with firmware or software. Today's show is about NDI converters. We've got them here for you from NewTek. We've got them from BirdDog. And there are other brands and other companies who make NDI converters, but we really feel that BirdDog and NewTek are just at a level above everybody out there. So that's why they're the lines we carry, and they're the products we're going to be focusing on for today's show. All right, next we're going to talk about the BirdDog Flex products. Now, BirdDog Flex are three products. There's a Flex In, and a Flex Out, and a Flex Backpack. They're all $3.99. Flex In gives you up to 4K HDMI input. It supports PTZ control, PoE, comms. Flex Out is what we're using over here to show you the monitor that we're driving. And then the Backpack is actually a Flex In that also gives you the ability to have a 6-volt battery adapter, so you can use it to power other devices like a Atomos Ninja as an example, or a Shinobi. So we have a little demo going that we're going to show you right now that Adam and the guys set up. What you see there is two cameras using those converters, the Flex converters, and we're going to go show you the tally light, how the tally light works. So, you know, my tally light's red, so that's how I know that camera's on me. And then the tally light goes red, and that's the other camera that's on Adam. So we got a whole little thing going here just to show you how that tally works back and forth. But we think it's really cool how bright and clear the tally is on these products. So we wanted to show that to you in a little live demo. So great job setting that up, and that was all done over NDI, folks. Some cool Flex Out and NLE workflows. In the pre-show, we talked about that. You can have Avid or Adobe Premiere play out of your timeline directly into your network, and then with a plug-in for Adobe or Avid, and then with a decoder, you can have it go right to the screen. So in the pre-show, we were showing you Adobe Premiere playing right into the screen. I'm wondering if Oliver's available to hit play again from his timeline. And if he hits play from the timeline, we'll start seeing that video moving that's over here for me, because that video is from Adobe Premiere. Now, I apologize. We don't have comms going to Oliver in the other room, so the way we're communicating him is over chat. But as you can see, that is a video that's actually playing off of the Adobe timeline that you're seeing right over there. So we're bringing the actual timeline in via NDI to us, and we're also letting you see over here the actual output of that timeline using Adobe Premiere. So cool little demo, love that. We went a little bit more in the pre-show, so I don't want to dwell on that much longer. Okay, next, want to talk about two really cool products. The first two NDI converters we were selling, and that was the BirdDog Studio and the BirdDog Mini. Now, what I really love about these products is they're inexpensive products that give you encode and decode. So the Mini gives you encode and decode single HDMI input, whereas the Studio gives you SDI and HDMI both in and out. Great little products for $495 and $695. These two products are HD products, folks. They don't support 4K, but there's a ton of 4K products coming later. NewTek has a whole host of HDMI solutions. Now, these are really their second generation Spark NDI converters. The first generation of NDI converters were NDI HX, and they used Wi-Fi and some other technologies. As time progressed, the folks at NewTek really realized that we want to focus on the full NDI, on 4K capability. So we've got 4 different models, and I'm going to show you all 4 here if we can. If we can bring this back on over here, I'll talk over it as we go over it, Adam. This is the original Spark Plus 4K converter. It has HDMI in. It is input only. It's USB-C powered and supports tally for $599. Then we have the Spark IO 4K, which is right here. That's HDMI input to 4K. And then that's $895. And then below that, we have two SDI models that I want to show you. We have the SDI, 3G SDI, and 12G SDI Spark Pluses. And those are available for $995 and $1095. And the Spark Pluses over here, these three, all do encode or decode. So very cool, works great in your workflow. BirdDog has a 4K family of converters that are both encode and decoders 4K. They have the 4K HDMI for $895, the 4K SDI for $995, and then they have this puppy right here, folks. And if we can, I want to get right in on this. Can we focus in on this camera over here? That's right. Look what's on the back of this, folks. 4 SDI spigots. This is the quad. You can actually take 4 different sources, SDI, bring them into here, 4K, and you can now encode them to 4K from 4 different sources for $19.95. That's $500 per 4K source. That's ridiculous. That's insane. That's phenomenal. That's BirdDog. They just find a way to take NDI to 11. All right. Last week when we did our show on encoders, we put up a little comparison chart. So we've got a comparison chart over here. I'm not going to go through each item, but I'm going to bring up the column. So we're going to full screen. We've got the manufacturer. We've got the product name. We've got your price points. We've got whether they do encode, decode, or both. Are they HDMI or SDI or both? And if it's SDI, is it 3G or 12G? And then we have the maximum resolution. Now remember, anything that's 4K is going to support the HD resolutions as well. And you'll see some of these things are actually 4K P60. Now the color coding here is to go back in the show. We kind of, if you know, each one of these represents the segments on the show that I've gone through today to go more in depth on what was in there. So if you need to go through a refresher, you can go back and see what we were talking about. But I really like this chart. Let's bring it up full screen one more time. We're going to embed this chart on our website, on our blog, in the notes for the YouTube. But here's a great way to get a look at what we feel are the best NDI converters in the industry, bar none. BirdDog, they have figured out a way to take NDI to 11, and NewTek, they created NDI. They know everything about NDI. You know their stuff's just going to work a notch better than the competition. There's other NDI converters out there, folks, but for reliability, performance, stability, and upgradability over time, nothing beats BirdDog and NewTek for your converters. All right, if we're going to talk about NDI and NDI converters, I felt one of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit was NDI Tools. NDI Tools, we use them here. It's a free download, and the NDI Toolkit gives you all these really cool tools that we got. Oh, you took it full monitor, remember? NDI Studio Monitor, the VLC plugin lets you plug any video you want. You got test patterns. You got the HX drivers. You got screen capture. The Adobe Creative Cloud plugin, that's what we were using. You get webcam input, access manager, input I/O for Adobe, and NDI Screen Capture HX, all these great features. Now there are additional NDI tools that you could purchase that are really cool. There is an NDI tool that lets you turn your iOS phone into a camera over your Wi-Fi network. Very cool, cool stuff that's out there. We love NDI tools. We love NewTek. We love that VizRT bought NewTek and put even more money into the brand and the name. NDI, that's what the show is about today. And NDI converters, encoders, and/or decoders are what makes an NDI studio possible using legacy gear and new gear that might be NDI right off the bat, like the P100 camera we're using over there from BirdDog. It's native NDI. Also, if you want to learn more about NDI in general, you want to check out NDI TV. This is just a little plug for that and NewTek over here that I thought was real important that I wanted to share with you guys. Now I want to go into something really cool, and that is how we did today's show. Today's show is powered by NDI. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to point around to all the stuff we have here. You just have to trust me what's where. But over there, my man Adam is on the TriCaster TC1. That's our main video switcher. We also have a wire gas gear over there. Both of them attached to the same network over NDI. Work, light up, see each other, and see every camera that's NDI in the room. We have the Panasonic CX350 right in front of me over there. That's our main camera. We chose to have that camera come in SDI, and that's one of our little notes that we just have. And that's where, even in a full NDI, where you've got NDI all over the place, we like recommending that you have at least one camera, one source that's hardwired into your switcher so that if God forbid things go wrong with your network, something hiccups, you can always focus on that camera that's hardwired in while other things are being troubleshot or rebooted or what have you. BirdDog P100 right over there, that's native NDI camera. We love that camera. It's a new addition to our studio. I just think it's fantastic. I love it. It's only $15.95. We have NDI screen capture. That's what brings in my PowerPoint presentation, puts it over my shoulder over there. We have a BirdDog Flex and a BirdDog Flex Pack, which we showed over there, that we had going for our demo that we did before on how these different cameras work. And those cameras were only in the show for the demo purposes, but thank you, Adam. I was going to tell you to wave. Next, let's bring it back over here. We have Adobe Premiere Pro, and we have a BirdDog Flex Out that's playing into that. And you can see that over there. That's that little box right over here, the green box. And that's the Flex Out that's powering this. It's coming from Adobe Premiere Timeline that's running on a computer on the other side of the building. And then we just wanted to tell everyone that we are using the Luxol AV Series 12-port 8 PoE switch. We really love that switch. We tested a lot of switches for our show. We wanted something that we knew we were going to get 8 PoE ports plus additional ports for the TriCasters and other stuff. It's a great solution for us. We love it. Of course, we're tied into the larger network we have that's running Cisco and Meraki and Wi-Fi and all that good stuff that runs our general business. But this is just what's going on in the studio. And before we end the show on converters, I wanted to give you a converter tech tip that a lot of people don't realize, and that is there are a lot of cameras out there that are 4K cameras, but when you run the NDI HX firmware, they're only HD. You can get a 4K Spark Plus or BirdDog Flex, attach that to your PTZ or your regular camera, and now you can get 4K output. And why I bring that up is the Flex encoder is $399. The HDIX, the NDI HX plugin is going to be $299 to $399 for your camera or your PTZ camera to be converted. So for a lot of people, I think you're better off using a converter than the software for what you want to do. But whatever works for you is cool. And we love native NDI cameras. But if you have a camera that's pre-native NDI that you want to make it to NDI, you have two options. You can add something like a BirdDog Flex or a Spark Plus, or you can do the firmware upgrade. It's really your choice. So I hope everyone really enjoyed today's show. I love doing it. I love talking about technology and how they work. That we could do so many demos here live during the same time to our show is amazing. We showed you Adobe Premiere Timeline playing over NDI into a monitor that was on another part of the building. We showed you how the tele lights work on the Flexes with the two different Flex products and the Flex backpack, which can be used to not only do your encoding, but to also power a device like a Ninja or an Atomos Shogun. We talked about different workflows that you can use with NDI, integrating NDI, SDI, HDMI can all be used together. The most important thing that I want to stress from this whole webinar is that NDI gives you a level of flexibility, freedom, and creativity. Flexibility, freedom, and creativity that you just can't match when you're dealing in an old-fashioned hardwire system where everything was HDMI or everything was SDI. So I thank you for everyone for watching today's show. It was real exciting. Great to tell you all about this stuff. I want to remind you that we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Watch us, like us, love us, share us, comment on your clips. We look forward to your feedback. We enjoy doing these shows. We like talking to our customers. I didn't see that anything came on the Facebook comments, so I didn't miss that, but I forgot to turn sideways and check. So to everyone who watched the show, thank you very much. This is Gary from Video Guys. Peace.
Thank you for joining us for this week's Videoguys Live Webinar. Videoguys goes live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook and YouTube. Join us next week, April 13th, for a great webinar on some exciting new bundles from NewTek. Videoguys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.